on some music, forget the day, and dream of a girl I used to know. She closed her eyes and I slipped away. She slipped away.
microphones are hot. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another scintillating episode of Max's Models Livestream. Before we go around the bend, first off, let's get a sound check. Corey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ken.
6, 7, 2, 5, 1.
And Steve.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
And I know you can hear me because the needles are bouncing all over the place. Guys, if Ken is slow in answering, we got to give him a 3-second window. He's in a noisy place, so he has to mute his microphone when he's not talking.
It's my wife.
I wasn't gonna rat you out there, but okay. So we're running usual 20 to 30 second delay. So again, when we start asking Corey questions about the build we're going to talk about, we're going to have to, maybe back forth through the pictures. Anyway, so the first thing we're going to kick off with tonight is talk about the world's longest limo, which is currently at Desertland, and there's yours truly. Wearing the very same shirt I'm wearing right now, by the way, my gift from Tom Daniel, Red Baron shirt. So anyway, we're going to have, I guess we'll start off with Steve giving us a little background on the car, because Corey basically scratch built, to my knowledge, the only 1/25th scale model of the car. And by the way, it was Corey that noted that this is our 125th live stream, and we're talking about 125 scale cars. So the great Styrene River provides once again. So before we get into the build, Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit what you know about the car?
Okay, good evening, troopers. The car was originally conceived and built by J.O. Berg, who's a car customizer out on the West Coast, and he's been at it for years. And Jay had several car museums over the years, and he concocted this wonderful limo, was with a helipad on the back and a hot tub, and more room in it than you want to shake a stick at. It was in multiple TV shows. It was in a few movies. It was on a couple of those shows that talked about phenomenal things that are made in the world, so to speak. And it sort of had a popular moment, and then it sort of faded into obscurity. And it was obtained by the AutoZine in Long Island. Max, do you have the picture of it behind the AutoZine?
I don't. I think I only have the picture you took of me posing by it. If it is, I don't know where it's at.
Oh, I sent you one. But anyway,
while you're talking, I'll go see if I can find it on my email.
So the thing sat behind the AutoZine in Mineola, Long Island, which is run by Mike Manning and Andy Perillo. And Andy worked for George Barris for his entire life. And Mike is a fellow who owns a very high-end body shops on Long Island. And they acquired the car with the intent of restoring it. And it sat in the back 4 years, and it really kind of was a total mess. Well, the AutoZine was moved to Desertland, and part of what transpired was Mike Deser, who owns Desertland, has an enormous car collection, and he wanted the car to be restored, and he wanted it to be one of the centerpieces of the collection. So Mike shipped the car down there and got 2 more Eldorados as donors and redid the car as you see Max standing next to it in the picture.
Okay, so that wasn't the way it originally looked.
Excuse me?
That was not the way it originally looked.
No, it only had 2 wheels in the front originally.
Oh, okay.
The car is articulated in the middle. So if it does drive, if it has to make a turn, albeit a very wide turn, it will turn. It has since been deemed by the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest known limo in existence. It still has the hot tub, it still has the helipad, and they had a helicopter land on it outside in the parking lot of Desertland.
Just so it could get a legitimate credit.
So it does do what it's supposed to do, and it's on permanent display in Desertland.
All right. Well, now
I like
what?
I like what Lance said. He said, "A car for when you need to transport the entire Swedish bikini team."
There you go. And Mike sent me images of Corey's build of the limo, and I was absolutely blown away by it. And I contacted Mike and asked him to put me in touch with Corey, which he sent me his contact info, and I reached out to him, and
Here we are.
got him together with Max, and he's here to tell us about that fantastic build that he made.
Well, with that in mind, here are a couple of pictures of the finished product. There's the swimming pool, and you know what? Instead of me talking about it, I'm going to let this cycle just so folks who aren't familiar with the car can kind of grab what we're thinking about here. And then we're going to go to the build photos and let Corey basically narrate us through it. There's the Swedish bikini team. Then we're going to let Corey kind of hand off the reins to him. And one thing I need to point out, though, is that the actual car when we saw it at Desertland is there's no way you can get a photograph of the whole thing, which I tell even photographing the model, it's just so long and linear. It's like that spaceship in 2001. It's like almost really cool, but almost impossible to photograph. Okay, so Corey, you still with us?
Yep.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to enlarge these photos, and why don't you, you know what? I'm going to pause this, and you can start telling us about the build once the picture pops up on your screen, and it's going to be in about 20 seconds here. In fact, let me just go back to picture number 1. If I could turn that off and turn it back on, will it? No, it doesn't recycle. Okay, go back here. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now, I've got it on the picture. You'll see it in about 20 seconds. That shows the 3 Cadillac bodies, the blue, the gold, and the white. So,
Sure.
So whenever you're ready, take off, and I'll just move the pictures as you talk about it.
Yeah, sure. So I'll first off, I just want to, thank you guys for bringing me onto the show. This is pretty cool. Once I finish,
Johan kits?
yeah, yep. They're
Okay.
the Joanne 76 Cadillac Eldorado kits.
Okay.
I kind of lost my train of thought now.
Oh, you were going to say thanks for being here.
No, I was just going to say, once I finish this and post it, I didn't know what kind of, reaction it was going to get. But, yeah, it's really cool for you guys to reach out and, bring me on the show to talk about it and everything. So, yeah, super cool.
Corey, before you get into the build, you want to tell us the story of how you wound up doing this to begin with?
Yeah, yep. So it's quite a bit of a long story, so I'll kind of just, dive right into it. And then maybe after I kind of, tell the story, then, if people want to ask questions or something, I
Sure.
can, answer anything. So first off, just this is even, way before the build and everything like that. But back in grade school, I would always get like those Ripley's Believe It or Not books at school or whatever for the book fairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that was like the first time I actually seen a picture of like the real car, because I think it was in like the 99 book or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the original, I've known about this car since I was, a little kid or whatever. But fast forward to, 2021, this is the fall in 2021. this guy on a model forum was having kind of writer's block about what to build next. So he posted on the group or whatever, and he was asking people, he's like, hey, I don't know what to, build next. Can people kind of give me some suggestions or something? And just as a joke, I instantly thought of this car, and just sense of how outrageous and, unrealistic it would actually be to make a model of it. And sarcastically, I posted a picture of that real car, and I was just like, what about this? And, just trolling the guy and, having fun with it and stuff. But then kind of a few days later, the way my mind works, it's like I started thinking, if somebody actually wanted to build this in 1/25th scale, how would they do it, And so, a few days in, a week later, the gears in my head were turning and stuff. And then I think it was only about a week and a half or so after I, posted the joke that it's like the joke ended up being on me, because then I actually started attempting it myself.
Oh, when trolling goes bad.
Yeah, so I think I trolled myself.
Okay.
So yeah, the picture that you got displayed now with the 3 individual bodies. So this was the first night I actually started on it. So this was December 2nd, 2021, is when I officially started cutting up the bodies and everything. And actually, I kind of jumped ahead. What kind of helped me make the decision of actually trying it was I had a guy that actually, or a friend of mine, that actually had all 3 of the kits already.
Oh, that's handy.
Or
That
at
was
least
convenient.
at least the bodies and stuff. So that was a head start right away. So he gave me a good deal on that, and then he also makes resin parts too. So I asked him if he could make the rims for me, since I needed 24 of them. Because I wasn't going to buy a bunch of promo kits just to use the wheels, so kind of that helped a lot too. So, but yeah, once I got the kits from him, you see the picture here, I just started cutting them up, because in my head, the way I envisioned this was, if I made the front end and then made that rear end, the middle section is just going to be, styrene sheets and stuff. And I figured that would be, easy. Like, hey, if I got the front done and I got the back done, you just stretch it, 4 feet long and glue it together,
Uh-huh. Because nothing ever goes wrong with that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, what you got or displayed now or whatever is, working on the front. I cut up the kind of the hoods and stuff to get the wheel wells right. And what was difficult about this build is, and what's kind of odd to me is, since the real car holds, a world record and everything, finding real pictures or like good pictures of the car is actually a challenge in itself.
Huh.
Like, I mean, I sat on Google and stuff, and I mean, there really is only about a handful of, the same pictures of the car. And when you're building something like this and need, specific details of a certain area of the car, it was a challenge. So as the story goes, it kind of evolves, and another buddy helped me out with that. So, but yeah, so the first night, this was still the first night of when I was cutting them up. I glued them together. I was kind of just focusing on the wheel wells for now to get that right, and the spacing in between them and stuff.
What kind of bonding agent are you using there?
So this is actually kind of an oddity. This is kind of just what works for me. I know a lot of guys in model communities and stuff probably don't think it's a good thing, but I use JB Weld. That's my secret weapon.
We got a few guys that swear by it.
I mean, I still use super glue and stuff, but for like extreme bonding or even body morphine and stuff, I really like the JB Weld just because of its durability.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know if you got more pictures.
Yeah, I'm moving now to the next photo where it's all puttied up.
Sure. Then so after that, I think that same night I even got to kind of some of the rear end too. So I just started cutting up the back, and I think the rear wheel well of that Cadillac Eldorado kind of butted up perfectly with kind of the fender of where it starts on the limo on the back side there.
Let me see if okay. I found the photo you're talking about. You'll see in about 20 seconds.
Sure.
Where you got the little yellow clamp holding it. Yeah, that is a surprisingly good alignment.
Yeah, so I mean, even the first night, I don't know if this is kind of a question any model builders out there, but I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like the first night I start on a new project that like I get so much done.
Yeah, because you got the energy level, the interest, the excitement.
Yeah, it must just be that or something, but it's like every time I start a new build, it's like it seems the first night's the most productive, you know?
You have the new it has the new project smell.
Yeah.
It's like that first date.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, as you can kind of see, that's kind of how I did the rear end. I was, just looking at reference photos again, trying to get the length right of fitting all that stuff that's in the back. There's the rear driving quarters. There's the, like, I call it the drying tub. It's basically just this little area where it's like carpeted or something. I don't really know what Jay would call it, but and then there's obviously the hot tub, and then there was like a deck with like a drying or a deck with a diving board and rails and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm moving up to where you're I'm scrolling through. Like I said, it'll take a while before you see it, but I'm scrolling up to where you're starting to measure all that out and make some of the blanks and everything. And
yeah, and as you can tell, I'm not an engineer by any means. This build was just a lot of, throw a bunch of putty on it and sand it down and repeat 1,000 times,
I suspect the real car's got a certain element of that in it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do any blueprints or anything like that. It was just kind of start cutting up bodies and compare it to the photos, of the real car. So actually, this is a good photo too. So originally, my original plan was to make the model in 3 sections, like the real car, where you could kind of piece them together and stuff. And then I think the original version, before Jay stretched it to 100 feet, there was like a 60-foot version, which was I think just the rear and front sections, kind of put together. But I wanted to kind of do it in 3 sections where you could, you would take all 3 sections apart, and then you could clip in the rear and front section to make the smaller version of it,
Oh, I see.
And then if you wanted to, you could add in the middle section to make the longer version too, so you could do either or. But that engineering, or like me trying to engineer that, I tried for almost 2 years to, get the roof lines to line up and stuff like that. But I eventually, towards the end, I gave up and just went with the longer version. But in that picture that's up there now with the kind of the roof line and stuff like that, where it looks all boxy. It might have switched by now, but that's kind of how I started. I would just glue a bunch of kind of boxy looking stuff, and then once it was all glued together, that's when you kind of sand it all down and actually make it smooth and stuff like that. But a funny story is going back to how rare it is to find real pictures of the car, of the real car. It was hard to see kind of that back section, that rear roof line and stuff like that, where in the picture you can see it's just all flat. And once I started this build, one of my best friends, his name's Jean-Philippe Surgent. He lives up in Canada, and he builds a bunch of 1/25th scale Cadillacs and stuff, and his work's amazing in itself. But I told him about it, and then he got kind of inspired by me, and then he started building his own version of it too while I was building mine. So I had someone to kind of share the journey with, which was cool. But he was very helpful, like in this build, because he was building his own version, and so he was researching pictures of the real car and stuff, and then when he'd find really good reference photos or something that would help him, he would kind of share them with me, which definitely helped me out, because in that picture I told you to put up or whatever, I had that rear roof line almost all smoothed out and everything like that, and down the road I ended up cutting off that whole roof and starting from scratch because I got the new reference photo that I did it wrong, and there was no way to fix it or whatever with what I had. So and in the pictures you'll probably see kind of some white goop on that. Mm-hmm. That's actually that Tamiya white putty that I use for more of the finishing details and stuff. JB Weld's more for like the initial body morphing stuff, so if anybody's curious about that. But yeah, in some of these pictures you can kind of see I'm making it in sections where that was me trying to make the car into 3 sections where you could piece them together and stuff, so that's why you kind of see it like that.
Well, we're moving on now to where you've got this gray, I guess, primer coat over the rear. Yeah, I think that's the rear end. Yeah, the rear end. And you're starting to smooth out some of the corners on the top of the car. But like you say, now is this the top that you wound up ripping off, the one that was perfectly flat?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the picture to come up, but I'm pretty sure.
There, I think you might. Yeah, we're on about a 23-second delay.
Yep, so I see it now. So, yeah, that's the roof line. As you can see, I kind of got it smoothed out and was trying to fill it in to make the right angle and stuff, but I ended up cutting that whole entire section off and just starting over. And I think when I put it, like made the new roof, I think I even stretched it a little longer or something like that to fit in that rear deck and stuff. But, yeah, I mean, from what I remember, the front and rear sections beyond that rear roof line and stuff, I mean, those actually went together pretty well. Like, I don't remember any severe issues kind of making those,
Now, since you had cut the car off from behind, I guess the actual kit, I guess you chopped off the front area, just behind just in front of the trunk?
So yeah, I'm trying to remember where I cut it, because I still needed that front, door section for the front end, and then it was probably towards that rear window or whatever, kind of what do they call it, the B pillar or whatever.
The B pillar, yeah. So now you're getting the sheet styrene, or as opposed to
yep.
And you got
all the styrene I use is just that evergreen plastics, I think it is.
Yep.
And you can get it in different
thicknesses, yeah.
Thicknesses, yeah. And the majority I use, I think it's 0.04 or whatever. But then if you actually go on their site, they have a 0.08, which is kind of what I used for the middle, just since I wanted it to be sturdy and everything. But that picture that was just up, I don't know if it's still up there, but you can kind of see both sections butted up to each other, and as you can see, they're not even close to lining up. That goes back to my engineering skills and just trying to make it fit and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a challenge all the way through. I fought that thing many nights.
Just as a quick side note, what is that black truck behind it?
That's actually a flower car. So I'm really into kind of professional chassis cars, limos, ambulances, hearses, flower cars. So that's actually a 55 Cadillac flower car. And that one is done, or I finished that one since those pictures. So
cool.
You'll probably see a couple other builds in the background with these pictures and stuff too.
How long did this build take you from start to finish, Corey?
So I started it on December 2nd, 2021, and then I finished it, let me see, I think it was September 26th of this year, so just 2 weeks ago. And I think, I mean, I didn't work on it constantly, You know, like any, you know, crazy build. I don't know, others do this too, but sometimes you'll get frustrated at a build and kind of set it aside for a month.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, the story.
You know, for weeks or months at a time, you know, so that's kind of what this was. It's like, you know, I'd get stuck on something, like say that rear roof line, and, you know, I'd kind of get, you know, frustrated and set it aside, and then, you know, 2-3 weeks later, you know, I'd revisit it and try to, you know, fight it again. And, you know, in the background, you'll see, you know, my other builds too. So it's like I get easily distracted with other, you know,
So now
builds that I have in mind.
you did this all from pictures.
Yep.
You never saw the actual car?
No, I've just the pictures, but yeah, I've never seen the real one in real life. It was just all sourcing pictures and videos. And
Why is there a steering wheel in this rear compartment?
so Steve might be able to correct it, but from what I know is that's the rear steering quarters, where that steering wheel would steer the rear 10 wheels that's near the hot tub and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then the front steering wheel, like actually in the driving quarters, would steer the front.
So this is a
6 wheels.
two-person operation to drive this thing.
So
That's not in there now.
no, yeah. So
No.
my build is actually based off the original that Jay built.
You did
Yeah.
off of what Jay did. Matt,
Yeah.
did you see the emails I sent you? I just sent you 2 emails about 10 minutes ago.
Let me look at them. I'll tell you what, since I'm going to go look at email, I will hit this slideshow to run, so it'll scroll through the pictures while I'm doing this.
Yeah, because there's 2 pictures there I think everybody would like to see
All right.
related to this car. So, Corey, how long does it actually measure from front to rear?
So it measures 4 feet. I really tried to get the realism of, you know, the real car was 100 feet long, and then if you know, put in 1/25th scale, that would be, you know, 4 feet.
Yeah.
So I made sure I made it accurate, you know.
I think it's like 100 and it's a little bit longer than that now, because when they did the restoration and they changed a couple of things around, it's a little bit longer than that because they wanted to make it a little bit longer so it would set the record.
Yeah, the new record. Yep.
Yeah.
It hasn't showed up yet, Steve.
What's that?
Yeah, the emails have not showed up yet.
Oh.
Well, that happens sometimes. They get hung up in cyberspace.
So this, they actually did the Guinness measuring and awarding and all that outside in front of Desertland. They had the car outside and they measured it and they certified it. It was actually on the news. Also,
yep, I seen that promo video, and what was crazy was I started this model before they finished the restoration.
Okay.
Because I think last year they actually finished it and did the
Yes.
ceremony and everything. Yeah, so I remember going back to my buddy Gene. I remember him sending me that video, and, you know, seeing it, and I was only halfway done with the model, so it was a little bit of inspiration, but you know, the restored car is a little different than Jay's version.
It
so
is.
yeah.
Well, when Max gets the pictures I sent him, you'll see why.
Yeah. I've seen many you know, different versions of this car and in many of its different states. You know.
Yeah, because the car was behind. The car, Mike picked the car up at a car show in New Jersey, and they were just looking to get rid of it. And he took it and put it behind the AutoZine. And the original plan was that they were going to restore it in the AutoZine as like sort of the class project, so to speak.
Yeah, yep. I remember reading like a bunch of you know, kids could
Right,
kind of try to learn auto body, working on it and everything.
Yeah, because it was a fully accredited New York State teaching museum, and so it sat behind the AutoZine for about 8 years.
But that was when,
Yeah.
that's back when it only had a couple of wheels on it, though, right? Just a normal front and the.
No, the whole thing.
I mean, like it sits now with all 20-odd wheels?
It had room for them, but they weren't all on there. But when you see the pictures that I sent you, you'll
Maybe you want to resend them because I'm not getting anything. You guys keep going. I'm going to run check something real quick. See, but I'm not showing them at the moment. But hang on, I'll be back in a second. You guys keep going.
Yeah, and it's funny you. It's.
I was just going to say, maybe you'd get the Guinness's World Book of Records for the model of the longest limo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I contact them?
Yeah, longest model limo.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody would try to beat that.
Well, you could contact Mike because he, was involved in getting the Guinness people to, come and
show up for the real card.
Yeah, and do the thing.
Yeah, going back to your pictures of when it was parked behind that place in New York or whatever. Those
the auto scene.
I think there was a few videos of it when it was all torn up and the windows were broken and all that, and it was just rotting away. And I think that's actually where those videos, and I would take screenshots and stuff. Those actually helped me more than the finished pictures that you could see of the limo. At least for proportions and stuff,
I remember just looking at it and saying to him, "You really think you're going to restore this?"
Yeah.
And he did. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, all the hot tub and rear deck lengths and everything like that I got from those pictures of when it was just rusting away. Because it's so hard to find good pictures of this car,
It's true. It's true. But I mean, your kid is amazing. It really is.
Yeah, so once I got the...
Go ahead. I'm still not getting your email, and I checked the spam, and...
You want me to send it to your text? Or no?
No, I can't get from it. That would getting from there to...
all right, hold on.
Just resend it as an email.
I'm sending one right now. So go look for it.
This thing is still long. I could go through the Lincoln Tunnel and have one end coming out while the other one's still going in.
That mean you got to pay the toll twice?
A lot of zip codes.
So you got this thing at home now? Oh, that brings up a point from what you and I chatted about earlier. I mean, I'm going to put some pictures up here of the finished car to go along, for comparison.
Sure.
To me, it looks like you did a fantastic build, but you took it to a car show, and I think it was the treatment was a little disappointing. You want to talk about the little issue at the model show?
Sure, I'll kind of finish the build quick.
So
once I got the first or the front and rear sections done, I started stretching it to the 4 feet, and that was just, like I said, basically a lot of thick styrene, and some of those work in progress pictures you can kind of see how blocky it got and everything. But once you kind of glue it all together and putty it up and sand it down, you can start actually getting that curved body line and everything. I thought that would be the easy part, but actually that ended up being the hardest part.
Oh, you're getting the curves on there?
And then just even if on the real car, they had those kind of roof windows too. So you had once you got the roof glued in and stuff, you even had to raise it, and just even measuring the windows to make sure the window lengths were right, because in that section, in the middle section where it splits apart, the real car, the windows are a little further away from each other. Every little detail that I could find on that real car, I tried to put into this model. So if you see that long picture of it, like finished, you can even see a shadow underneath the car there. That's actually the 20 5th and 26th wheel, like on the real car,
Huh.
that you can't see. They're made out of like big truck tires, like semi truck tires or something.
I see the
But-
gap
and-
you're
and-
talking about at the detach point, how the windows are further apart.
Yeah, it's right underneath that, because a lot of people don't know that about this limo, is that there's 2 hidden wheels kind of behind those the middle 8,
Oh.
and that's
how it
even,
articulates.
yeah, it kind of supports the length too, or whatever, like the weight of everything.
I don't know if you can see them in this photo or not. I'll blow it up. Yeah, you can kind of. If I stretch this photo out some, you'll see what I'm doing here in a little bit. Yeah, you can sort of see those hidden wheels now. You guys, it'll be a little while before it pops up on your computer. One of the things that, like I say, makes this show a little quirky is that it's you and I are talking on the phone, so it's instant, but it does it 20 to 30 seconds before it loops out to the world, so sometimes things get a little out of balance. But here you should be able to see me stretching it out now. But yeah, sure enough, there's those hidden wheels down behind the center 8.
Yeah, so I even included, every little detail I could find about this thing. I tried to, make it as accurate as possible. So
So how does this thing even move? Does it have a drive shaft that goes to the center, or is it just front wheel drive?
It's front wheel drive. It's an Eldorado.
yeah, didn't the '76 Cadillacs have the front wheel drive?
Yep, it's front wheel
Yeah.
drive.
Yep.
All 6 wheels, or just 2 of them?
No, 2 of them.
And Steve, I know the rear section underneath kind of the deck part had like an engine too.
Yeah.
Was that like a second drive shaft that just did 2 in the back then, or?
It just did 2 in the back
Okay.
in the original car, but that's not in the new car.
Okay. Because yeah, I've seen pictures with the deck off, and you can kind of see an engine in the back there, and then those exhaust vents in the back. That's probably what that was for too.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was for the hot tub too.
The exhaust vents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you talking about the ones right in front of the rear 10 wheels?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I've got a picture for that.
That would be fun to take it on the New Jersey Turnpike where they charge the number of axles. That's what Brian said.
Oh, there you can see that. There you can see those hidden wheels real well in this profile shot. You guys will see it here in about 20 seconds. And you can see those exhaust vents you're talking about.
Yeah, and those I even cut out. Like, I didn't do any stickers on this thing. It was, like those exhaust things are real holes, and I even put mesh behind it, metal mesh, and.
So you took this to a model show.
Yeah, so that was actually kind of like a deadline that I set for myself. There was this big model show coming up near me, and I kept procrastinating on this thing, and it wasn't getting done and stuff like that. So when I heard about this show, I was like, you know what, I'm going to use this date or this show as an excuse to finally finish this thing and make me finish it, kind of thing, like motivate me to get it done by then. So I think it was about maybe 3/4 done, maybe a little more or something like that. And the show was like 75 days away or something like that. So, not a lot of time when you got all the life stuff going on and other stuff going on and stuff. But, I used that as a deadline. So that's why I did finish it on the 26th then. That was the same week as the show. So I didn't have much time to finish it before the show. But
So the question is, how do you transport it?
yeah, that was a challenge too, because I was like, I didn't want to break the flags on the front are actually removable, but like that limo wing in the back, like I didn't want to break that or anything, and the rear view mirrors are so delicate and can break easily. So I thought about putting it in a box or something, because I had a really long, narrow box that I probably could have put it in, but I ended up just carrying it in, like you see it on the pictures, like a broomstick almost. Just walked right into it and set it on the table.
Okay, the links are coming through, so it'll take me a second to get all you guys keep going. Just letting you know, I am working on getting these other pictures up for you.
I was beginning to think that the interweb was dead.
Nah, just just long shot crawling through a dark alley.
Garfield brings up an interesting point. You could use this as a hidden mini mobile missile launcher.
Yeah, I don't know how hidden.
Yeah, the roof opens up and it just pops it out.
Okay, here's a very ugly photograph of the actual car in rather decrepit condition. But it is broken apart so you can see the body. Where it's separated.
Is there like a tram that goes from the front to the back on the inside?
Yeah, it's like in a B-36. There's a tunnel and you're laying down on a car and you pull the cord.
Just taking the trolley to the tail of the plane.
There it
Jimmy
is.
Stewart, Strategic Air Command. First thing I did when I saw the B-36 at the Air Force Museum was crawl into Bombay and look. Sure enough, there's the tunnel.
Yep, there it is.
You know, even with professional photographers, they can't really get a decent photo of the whole thing because it's just so Here they are towing. Here, I'll copy this one. Here they are towing half of it.
Wow, that thing was in really sad shape.
It was in horrible shape. The interior was gone. Half the windows were broken.
Well, where are they? What are they parking in Jersey?
Steve, the original one that Jay built, you know, I've seen pictures of kind of interior, you know, on the rear section and stuff, but there wasn't really an interior even in the original car, was there?
No, it was only in the back.
Sure.
There was nothing behind where the driver sat in the front.
Yep.
And the windows were blacked out, so you couldn't see in.
Yep.
And when Mike redid it, if you've seen the car, well, if you see the car, all the windows are blacked. Yeah, they're all blacked out.
Yep, but yeah, Mike kind of recarpeted it and stuff. I've seen videos of the
He
restore.
did a thing in the back, you know, and there's a curved, you know, couch, so to speak, but it stops after about, let's say, about the third window up from the back.
Yep. Yeah, because I think Jay's version actually even had like a coffee table in it and kind of like one of those old box TVs, you know. And, Yep. I've seen a few pictures of it.
And you see with the picture with the tow truck, I mean, that's how they moved it around because it couldn't fit on a flatbed.
Yeah, and Max, I was telling the guys these pictures actually helped me even more than the finished ones.
Really?
Just for proportions and stuff, because it's so hard to find good pictures like that. That one with the tow truck, you can kind of see that roof line where the deck actually kind of goes into the body instead of sitting on top of it. There's like a rear elevation that kind of goes up to the rear window and stuff. So that's why I had to cut the roof off my model and redo it, because I wanted to add that detail in there.
Well, it's funny. Here's a picture of the thing getting restored, and it looks a lot like your model. Yeah, he's just even the same gray primer. You'll see it here in just a second.
Yep, just lots and lots of Bondo.
And here's a picture that I can't quite figure out. Hold on, let me paste, crop.
That's in the shop in the back of Desertland.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now this next one, let me just get it uploaded here. Image.
But I mean, it's fantastic that your kit just looks like somebody took the real thing and shrunk it down. I mean, it's amazing.
I appreciate that.
I mean, if you took a picture of it in the right circumstance, you'd have a hard time telling the difference between the real one and yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, this
You know,
next
with the
picture,
bright
I'm not
background,
exactly sure
right?
what the story is here. It looks like the actual car, but it looks very different in this photo than it looks now. I'm not. I assume it's the same.
I think that's another car that
Yeah, that's not it.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, that is a different
that's
car.
not it.
Okay.
Different car, same builder.
Ah,
Different roof, you know,
Yeah.
different roof. It's got a little hatch in the back. No. And I don't know where this one is. And if you look at the front fenders, there's no metal between the wheels, where in this one there is.
yes.
You know.
Looks like an early attempt at it.
Or a later.
It almost looks like a rendering.
Yeah, I kind of suspected that if that was Photoshop or something.
Yeah.
I think that is a real car that Jay built. It was just a different, limo, different car entirely. I don't know, what the timeline on was it, whether he built it before or after the American Dream. But
I'm not familiar with that one.
I think the last time they've seen that one that you just showed was like in Portugal or something.
Probably
And
some
even-
Saudi prince bought it to take his wives around it.
But even the American Dream limo, from what I read up on it, Jay would kind of loan it out to different people across the world just to go to auto shows or county fairs and stuff. And I know he rented out his cars for movies a lot.
Yeah, he did. It was on a show on TV where they had these magicians that would do things, and they
I know
had
what you're talking about. Is that from like the 80s or whatever?
yes,
Yeah.
and they had this guy named Franz Harari who was the master
The
of
host?
illusion, and he was one of the participants,
Oh,
and
okay.
he made the car disappear.
Oh, okay. I think I'm thinking of a different video then.
Yeah,
There-
he put a big screen up in front of the car, and did some magician stuff, and they dropped the screen, and the car was gone.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that could happen on any street corner in Jersey.
Yeah, well, that's because he left it on the Bronx River Parkway.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to put a photo up here in just a second and let you guys duke this out. And if you need another project, this is all pretty insane, and it involves this car too. Let me just image. Okay, I don't know where they dreamed this one up, but here we go. And hold
And
on.
since I've finished this American Dream limo, now all my friends are already joking around with me to build all of other Jay's cars.
Well, in a couple of seconds, you're going to have some ideas here.
I'm surprised Jay hasn't seen it and contacted you.
Yeah, I'd really like to get a hold of him so you could see it. Even getting a hold of Michael was cool.
Well, he sent me the pictures. One morning, he showed up at my phone. He goes, "You got to see this," and I was like, "Holy crap!" And I was like, "Who did this?" And he goes, "I said you gotta put me in touch with this guy." I said, "This would be great on the channel." And he says, "All right." So he gave me your email.
Yep.
Well, what kind of fever dream are these other cars?
Yeah, so those are Jay's other cars. The
Yep.
living room car, I think he called it,
Nah.
or the living room limousine or something.
Yeah, the blue one. And the other one was like the Valentine something Mercedes, the pink one. The one with the big heart-shaped hot tub.
Yeah, so people are already joking with me that I need to build those ones now.
Well, I'm saying here's a couple of fever dream cars for you. I will tell you this much without joking: that living room car is bigger than my first apartment.
Yeah, I was trying to look up more info on that because the gears in the head were already turning, but I can't find much info on that car. Like, it's crazy to me. Jay has all these, he's built all these cool cars and stuff, but there's just so little info about them.
Like
It is
you said,
odd.
not
Usually
usually
people who
in
make
one
things
spot.
like this promote the heck out of them.
Well, like you said, they're not in one spot.
A Barbie limo. It's
Barbie
the Barbie
limo,
limo.
Because I was reading up on this this living room limousine, and apparently there's like 8 wheels on it, and I was like, are they hidden?
Where are
Probably.
those for?
Yeah, where are
Probably
they?
They're probably in the middle.
I would
Because it looks
think.
like 2 cars.
He just grabbed the 2
that were
cars.
put
They've been doing
together.
that crap with airplanes all over, forever. So,
I mean,
Yeah,
it looks like 2 cars with a filler in the middle.
Yeah.
That they kind of put them together. So there's probably 4 inboard wheels.
Sure, I like towards the trunk area and then towards the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
got like
Yeah, apparently that car could split in half or something. I think that's how they probably traveled it to the auto shows or something. But yeah, there's 2 separate engines, so like you can drive each side of it, which was pretty crazy.
drive each side of it.
Or move it around, I should say.
You just split it in half, drive it as 2 separate cars, and bolt it together when we get there.
Because the
It would
pink
be
one's
fun.
pretty-
It would be fun driving down the highway and seeing these 2 cars come up beside each other and just merge together.
Well, do you guys remember? Wait a minute. Do you guys remember when Alan Fun on Candy Camera had the car that would split in half and go around the traffic cop or whoever it was?
Yep.
So that has been done.
Pink one's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think he had a black version of that one too. I don't know
I
if it
think
was
Ken
the
got
same car
disconnected.
that just got repainted or something.
Because that's a Mercedes.
I'm sorry, guys. If you just cut out, it's because Ken called back and I just merged him in, and it cuts the phone.
Sorry.
You're
Sorry,
back.
everybody. I hit the wrong button.
Nice. The tech guy hits the wrong button.
Hey, at least it wasn't a pilot.
So what is your next planned build, Corey?
Like I said, my friends have been joking about these ones pictured, so you never know. I'm always up for a challenge. But, yeah, I got a few more flower cars I got planned. I'm making an Incorrecto, if you guys know what that is.
An incorrecto.
Yeah, so in kind of the hearse communities and stuff, whenever somebody takes an incorrect, year or even model of an ambulance and turns it into the Ghostbusters Ecto 1, they call it an Incorrecto. So I actually already started on it, and it's probably already half done or whatever, but I'm actually kit bashing the Polar Lights Ecto kit with the Joanne 66 ambulance.
Oh, okay.
So that should be an interesting build.
So you're literally going out of your way to make the wrong car.
Yeah, yep.
Because we're model builders, and that's what we do.
Trace wants to know what happened at the contest with it.
Oh, you
yeah.
haven't told us the story.
Yeah, so going back to that story. So yeah, I used that date of the show as kind of my deadline to get this car done, and I actually got it done, a couple days before it, and I was all ready to go, and super excited to kind of unveil it in a sense. That was like the premiere of it. Bring it to this model
Sure.
show and catch people's reactions and stuff. So I made even plaques to display in front of it that explain the history of the real car if people didn't know about it, and it showed a picture of the real car, and I even wrote up a little story, kind of what I told you guys about why I made it and stuff. But got it to the show, set it all up, and a few of my friends came with, and they displayed some of their stuff, and hung out with them all day, and it was pretty fun. The category I put the limo in was called 50 or scratch built 51% or greater.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figured, custom cars or something might have had too many in it, or I don't know. And I already kind of knew going into the show that the people kind of putting it on probably wouldn't appreciate it fully anyway. So I figured I would have had a better chance in the scratch built category. But once the judges did all their judging on everything. I think my category only had about 10 cars in it or something, 15 maybe. And nothing, I'm not egotistical by any means, but nothing super spectacular. I think there was only one build there that even, was competition to this, in my opinion. But yeah, judging came around and the award ceremony and stuff, and I didn't get nothing for this. Not even a bronze, nothing. They had like 119 awards or something that day.
What?
This thing didn't get one.
This is why I don't build for competition. I like to keep it fun, but that's just harsh.
Well, yeah, and I didn't build this for the show or anything like that.
No, but I know what you mean. But still, I
was building it for myself. But I mean, come on. It's like if I'm a judge, it's like even if I'm not into a certain category of cars or planes or ships or something, it's like if I'm judging a category, I'm going to be logical about it, and judge it on the time it took to make something like say my limo,
and the amount of work and the craftsmanship to make it look that good.
Not to mention the attention to detail. You went all this way to get all the details right.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is, from what I can tell or from what I tried, is almost 100% accurate to Jay's version of it.
Maybe they didn't think it was a real car.
And it's like 95% scratch build.
Yeah.
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 It's not like it came out of the box like that.
Yeah, exactly. And even in some of these pictures, you can see there's a helipad on it. And if you turn it over, there's the putting green then.
Yeah.
And I even actually have the little golf ball and the little putting golf club that you can actually putt with it.
I mean, the proportions are perfect. The sides are perfect. The roof is perfect. The windows. I mean, this is, it's like you just took the real car and shrunk it down.
Yeah.
Well, I think clearly the problem. I'm sure that the reason you didn't win any awards is that clearly the golf ball and the putter are not 1/25th scale. So that, of course, just and the 19th hole. That's I mean, that's just sad. I mean, I'd have given you something just on merit, just for good God, man, just the the effort.
Just for bringing it into the building.
Without breaking it. You get the moving award.
Yeah, I got it home in one piece. That's a miracle in itself.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic build. It really is.
Yeah, and even the little flag too for the putt-putt.
Yes,
I even put hole 19 as a little joke.
And I'm sorry, sir, but there is no 19th hole. Well, the Loyal Order of Rivet Counter strikes again.
It's in your head.
Isn't the 19th hole usually the bar after you're done playing golf?
That would be a good name for a golf bar, the 19th hole.
Yeah, and another thing that I do with my builds that's pretty unpopular, I guess, in model building, communities and stuff is I like my models to roll. So I always make my own axles and make my builds roll. So this thing can actually roll.
But how does it corner?
So
you're going to press and make all 6 wheels turn together.
Yeah. So I had an idea. There's this video from an old show. I don't even know what it's called or whatever, but it's on YouTube. It's kind of a minute and a half video of this kind of a promo for this limo, the real one. And I thought about making, a video of my model, but then kind of, dub in the audio from the video.
Yeah.
Sync it up.
They call that the cool kids call that a shred.
I never know the difference.
I tell you what, you get it to roll and take it with the right lighting and everything, you can pull it off. And and there's somebody out there on YouTube who basically did the Battle of Britain movie by putting the soundtrack over his models, and it's like you start watching, you want to get roped into it, becoming engaged in it. Well, for what it's
Yeah,
worth,
still
Corey,
looking-
at least now you can get a little recognition for it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys, displaying it and letting me coming on and talking about it. And I'm still looking for a helicopter, though, whether it's die cast or a kit or.
Yeah, that was a
still-
little. That chopper was a Roadaway executive. That's a home built helicopter, but probably one of the best ones. And it's actually a size or maybe even a skosh smaller than a little Robinson R22. So they definitely got the smallest helicopter they could, which makes sense. And
Yeah.
but
Garfield Smith says, add some electric motors and convert it to a slot car.
Yeah, an RC car, that would be pretty cool.
got to make all 6 wheels turn together. But that's cool. Well, Corey, I appreciate you coming out and spending some time with us. This was
Yeah.
This is absolutely an incredible project you took on here, and kudos to you for just seeing it through.
Yeah, I want to thank my my buddy Jean Philippe for keeping me interested in the build, or whenever I get frustrated and wanting to give up, he would always cheer me on to keep going. So he was
Did he ever
definitely
finish?
a big help in
You
there.
said he was doing one. Did he
Even-
finish his build?
Yeah, so he actually did his own version, and he finished his before mine, but his is like it's kind of a combo between the 60-foot version that Jay did and then the 100 version. So it's kind of like a mashup of both.
So he just did
So
his
it's
own
not-
thing.
He kind of just did his own version of it, and he calls it the Canadian Dream instead of the American Dream. So I
Have
thought that
him
was pretty cool.
email me at maxismodels@yahoo. Email me some pictures and I'll put them in the next viewers build. I'll also include
Yeah.
these pictures in the next viewers build, which I kind of got started on today. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I have airline training coming up here soon, so my content creation is going to be dropping through the end of the year until I get all that done. But still, I'd like to get this should be in like Fine Scale Modeler magazine or something.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
should get some recognition.
Absolutely.
for
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I think Fine Scale was at that show I was at, and nobody approached me. Nobody, I mean, granted, they couldn't fit this in their little photo booth anyway.
That's true.
I figured they could Photoshop it or something.
Uh,
Take 3 different pictures of it or something and splice it all together.
That's about what
Sligo
you have.
said a train would stop for that.
It is a train.
Yeah.
But
So, Corey, so
what-
your flower cars, what do you call them? The Sopranos builds or the Godfather builds?
Yeah, either or.
hey, Corey, send me some pictures of your other builds for the viewers build also. Your flower cars
Yeah,
or whatever,
I think building, I've been doing them for probably about, 3-4 years now.
Do me a favor
and I
if you
think,
can then. Do me a favor.
Build.
Huh? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think building those flower cars, because you gotta scratch build the flower decks and everything on those as well. I think doing those actually, pretty much taught me the skills I needed to build this limo. So,
Mm-hmm.
the more you build and the more new stuff you try, the sky's the limits on what you can build, as long as you got the patience.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
that's something I have. I have patience in doses.
But, yeah, and this is why it took me 2 years to finish this thing.
Well,
Yeah, because you got to walk away.
we're currently doing a group build for Halloween that's including not only Halloween stuff, but also any ugly car or ugly aircraft. And so if you have like a flower car or something that to look at it, not that the build quality is bad, just the vehicle itself is just ugly.
Yeah.
Send a picture of that.
Yeah, a lot of people I don't think are after flower cars.
But
Just the hardcore collectors.
But shoot off a picture. We'll stick it in there because Steve submitted his today. It was an Edsel. I mean, that's a kind of an automatic. Well, Corey, thanks for coming out and spending some time with us. Really do appreciate it. We're going to move on to some other stuff. You're welcome to stay on the line if you like, or if you want to go, that's cool too. Just not giving you the bum's rush, but we're going to move on to some other subject matter. I'll leave it up to you whether you'd like to hang around or not.
Yeah, sure. I'll, like I said, I appreciate you guys bringing me on, and it's super fun to talk about this and share it with everybody watching. So,
Great job.
I appreciate it. So, with that, I can let you guys move on to your other topic, and I'll probably hang out in the background and kind of watch it from YouTube or whatever. So
sure. And if you're still free, if you see something, because the next thing, because we're staying on cars tonight, and the next thing we're going to talk about is moving on to cars is spy cars, and this is one of Steve's favorite subjects. And Revell just put out, I think it's supposed to be a new molding for your favorite car.
Is.
And so, Steve, I've got the. You know what? I'm just going to let you take it here and start because we also got a few others, but we're going to get to the Black Beauty and your Eagle Moss. But go ahead and take the ball and run with it from here.
Well, based on the screen that Max put up, and we're all looking at, you see to the left, you see some early DB5s. The first one up on the top, which is the Airfix DB5, which was an officially licensed DB5 when they came out with Goldfinger, which, in my opinion, happens to be the finest model of the DB5 with gadgets that was ever made. The DB5 that Airfix has underneath it was just a standard DB5, and then you see an MI DB5. The one to the right, which is the new 007 DB5, which is a brand new tool by Revell, is a Easy Quick, or it's a snap tight kit. Don't let that fool you. It's a fairly detailed kit. They just did a video on it on YouTube yesterday, and I watched it, and it was a very, very, very detailed kit. Has a lot of accessories. It has options that you can make the car either as a regular DB5, or you could make it as the 007 DB5 with the gadgets. It has things such as 2 different center console armrests. One open that has all the buttons for the gadgets, and one which is just a regular armrest. So you can put the gadgets in or not put the gadgets in. It's part of the 007 series, which they are launching. It's going to have the 71 Mustang from Diamonds Are Forever. It's going to have 2 other kits or 3 other kits from the different Bond movies. Yeah, so here's your cackling, Ken.
Tom Fox says, keep Max away from the snap tight.
Oh, you guys remember that little adventure. Corey, if you're still here, I did a snap tight in real time on a live stream of the Airfix Volkswagen van. It was, go back and watch it. It was not a thing of beauty, but it was funny.
But it was very humorous.
Oh yeah.
We all had a great time watching them put that.
By the way, did I
together.
tell you guys I knocked that? Did I tell you guys I accidentally knocked that thing off the shelf in the Tarbis about 2 months ago? And it and it was completely returned to kit form. Now it's glued. Now it's glued together.
Oh God. Well, this DB5 from Revell, as I said, it has the rotating, license plates and the tire shredders, and it's a pretty nice kit. It comes with paint and paintbrushes, so it's sort of a nice kit for not a beginner, but maybe an intermediate builder. Now, DB5s, Aston Martin, James Bond, not the only spy kits that were ever put out there. I mean, Max just showed the Man from U.N.C.L.E. AMT spy kit. They made the Sunbeam Tiger from Get Smart, was an AMT kit. So there were a variety of spy car kits.
Yeah,
Over
spy
the years.
stuff was real popular for a while.
Spy
Yeah.
stuff was real popular in the 60s.
Now, since you brought
James
up the man
Bond,
from
when he
Uncle
took-
Car,
When James,
Hmm?
yep, when James Bond took off, and there was like a spy craze, and all these movies and shows, they had their own cars. They made model kits of them, and there's the man from Uncle Car, which Max is in the process of finishing.
by the way, this man from Uncle Car, which so far the only thing I've built is the engine. It looks like the rest of it should be fairly straightforward, but it is the most cantankerous engine. It's that 6-cylinder Boxster, opposed 6, double dual, and all of that metal, aluminum crap they put on there to make the part shiny. You got to scrape most of it because there's so many of the parts are so. You know what? Hang on, I'm just going to go get the engine and show you. Let's see, I got it right where to put it.
Try not to laugh when he brings it, guys. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, if I break this, it's just going into trash. Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm going to go back to the regular camera mode here. And let me make this big so it'll be easier for you to see here. Okay. This is the engine for my man from Uncle Car. And it's got a lot of chrome that it doesn't need that you're never going to see. And the two turbochargers on top have these tiny little points right here where they connect. I mean, that's all that's holding them on. The exhaust pipes wrap over the cylinder heads, and these things go over them. And I've probably got a better, you know what, let me see. I've got a picture somewhere. It's just, and I realize it's not the kit model maker's fault. They're making a model of the actual engine, and the actual engine's put together this way. All right, I get it. It's, but to try and to build that is at that scale is a holy terror. You're dealing with. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Yeah. Here's a good picture.
Plastic says, "For the love of God, don't drop it, Max."
If you guys hear the sound of crunching plastic over the microphone, we're going to print it in that thing and have it. Oh, by the way, you guys, hold on. I need you to see my face when I talk about this. For anybody who didn't see, I have my new glass shelf behind me with no door. That's the door that was smashed. Okay? So we moved it in here. IKEA sent us a replacement. We hired a handyman to fix it. He smashed it, the same door. And he said it didn't even slip. He was just sliding into place. And so we now have 2 of these that have no door on them. The other one, we just turned it around so it's at least the cat can't get into it. But I didn't realize it was Friday the 13th.
That'll do it.
So one thing, our Roomba is getting fat off the glass. But anyway, so pretty good back there, don't you think? You can see my SR-71 and get the. I like it, And so anyway, getting back to this engine. Now, the one smart thing I did here was I did not paint the exhaust pipes or the distributor or anything until they were on because, paint intrusion in the glue. But you can see where the white exhaust pipe goes on to that chrome part, which I scraped the chrome off of. That is the entire mating area. That's all you have to bite to get that. And the same, you can see those superchargers or turbochargers, the exact same thing. Just those two little tiny points of contact. And I'm there with my Dremel drilling out all of the aluminum that was on them. And I'm like, dude, AMT, quit doing that. Yeah, just give us the parts in raw plastic. Okay, we'll paint the model afterwards. That engine was a frickin' nightmare. And you can tell things are a little Cattywampus or not, because you're seeing something that, you're seeing something that literally fits on 2 fingers, blown up to scale. But it's, and the worst part is when you drop it in the car, the thing's virtually invisible. You see a little bit of it. I did a test fit. Now, one nice thing, it did fit okay. And by the way, the axle goes through this hole right here, so you got to have the block in there. It was a little bit crooked, but when you put the deck on, here we go. When you put the deck on, basically you see a tiny little bit of the engine, and the rest of it's invisible. So you don't really have to put the engine. You can put a piece of black plastic under there, and you don't have to put the engine in. But at least and let me show you one more picture real quick where I dropped it in there, and it did fit without any real argument. It's plenty of room in there, and it's that little 6-cylinder dual turbocharged 6-cylinder straight opposed. I guess that's a Boxster engine, but and the exhaust pipes do not stick out the bottom here. You have a chrome piece that goes in there, so wanted it to look cool, I guess. But I gotta sand this. This is the wrong color. I gotta sand it off. You can see the burrs on the paint and everything. I scraped out that buildup. So, but I've got the TS58 paint for it now. I just wanted to talk about that because this is the most frustrating kit model car engine I ever built. You guys still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good thing it doesn't snap together.
So anyway, now that my little rant is over, here going back to the James Bond's cars, here is Steve's Eagle Moss build, and real nice job on it too. So Steve, did you want to talk about your Eagle Moss, because that was
Yes.
quite the production?
Having been a huge Aston Martin DB5 fan from when I saw Goldfinger as a young boy, I had always sought out DB5 kits with gadgets until I stumbled across the Eagle Moss kit of the DB5. And it's a 1/8 scale die-cast and plastic kit. It screws together, has electronics, everything works, has an engine sound, it has brake lights, it has the radar screen inside the speaker of the radio, the ejection seat works, the license plate.
Whoa, back up here. You said the ejection seat works?
Yes.
Oh, that is just too cool.
You push down on the shift lever and the seat works.
How many of us agree
that
about
is
one of those in
majorly
our actual
cool.
car?
Yeah. The bumper overriders come out. The cutters on the rear wheels come out. When you step on the accelerator, it makes an engine sound comparable to what you're stepping on the accelerator to. When you hit the brake lights come on. It was kind of like the ultimate DB5 kit, so I had to have it. The only way to get it was a subscription build. So every month you got billed X amount of money, and you got a box with different bags of parts and a magazine that had some instructions. Well, the problem was that the parts didn't exactly come in the order you needed to build it. So it became very confusing because you would have sub-assemblies that were built that couldn't go together. So I just waited until I got all of the rest of the bags and then just laid them out and put the thing together. It was a bit of a challenging build, but everything works.
Did it come pre-painted?
It's pre-painted. You don't have to do any painting. Comes with a display case that it goes in, but it is quite the detailed kit.
This is more of
And
an assembly project than anything else, then.
Yep, it actually absolutely is. But you do need modeling skills because there's a lot of things with the wiring and routing things and hanging the doors and hanging the trunk and making sure that the bulletproof shield works right and the tail lights. There's a lot of knowing how to put something together that comes with this thing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And Eagle Moss went bankrupt, and so their properties have now been taken over by a company called Agora. So they're offering this as well now. But
How long is the subscription for?
Oh, it was almost 2 years.
Jesus.
Is Agora going to do the same thing?
Yep. Their
Well,
subscription's a little bit shorter. They have different options. You can pay more up front and get it in a shorter time. Eagle Moss, it was only one way.
Well, speaking of spy cars, by the way, it's a beautiful build. Speaking of spy cars, another one I know you are excited about is the Black Beauty.
Oh, yes, I am.
And you got
And,
a couple of them, didn't you?
I got 3 of them.
That's dedication.
One's going to be with the gadgets, all displayed. One's going to be without the gadgets displayed. And the other one is going to be in the diorama I am building that also has a 66 Chrysler 300 convertible that will be at the garage with the rotating floor.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Steve.
Huh?
What's that?
Phaser 1 wants to know how much. I guess
For
for the DB5.
For the DB5 or the Green Hornet?
I think for the DB5.
It was about $1,500. When it was
You got to ask.
When it
You
was
got to ask. You
$1,000.
can't afford it. Yeah.
At one
Wow,
point on the
beautiful
DB5, real quick,
It
is just about everybody and their brother started making one. I think that's a Delusha. And I was like amazed how many companies, when I looked at DB5s on scale, I was like, just about every kit model company made one.
Yep. I have probably 4 or 5 different ones in the stash. I have the Airfix one, I have the Delusha one, and I have like 2 others. And I also have the Toyota 2000 GT from You Only Live Twice,
Mm-hmm.
which was also an Airfix kit. And I have Little Nelly.
Oh yeah, the several little Nellies, and I think didn't somebody make a model of the submersible Lotus?
Yes, which I have that too.
But I was surprised. Was there a model of the Black Beauty before this one?
Yes, the Aurora came out with it. It was a 32nd scale kit.
Right,
And
which
it had very little detail. This one has a lot of detail, and it's 24th scale. And it's all new tooling, and it comes with the Kato and the Green Hornet figure.
Well, I guess Aurora's attitude was 124th to 125th scale wasn't really the standard yet back then, maybe. But also their attitude was no one else is making one. We got the rights, so we can do what we want. They got to buy it. The kids have got to buy it.
Quick, it was quick and cheap because if you remember, they did the first TV Batmobile too.
Yep. And the bat plane that they made up and everything else.
Yep. And
Hey, but they were there to sell models, not to be the most accurate thing around, but to push the styrene and keep the company doors open.
Yeah.
And you got to give them props for all the things.
They also made a knockoff of the DB5, and it was called the Super Spy Kit.
Yeah.
They made a model, a 24 scale model of a DB4.
Where have we been seeing the super spy car stuff lately?
And they modified the mold to make the headlight area more like that of a DB5, and they put all the gadgets in it, and they sold it without having to pay the license.
There you go. And I assume that the whole thing behind calling the Piranha the super spy car is so they don't have to pay any man from Uncle royalties now, I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
And although my understanding is that the late David McCallum and the late who we just lost and Robert Vaughn hated that car.
They did.
And it was only used in a few
incredible.
episodes.
It was incredibly hot. It wasn't air conditioned. The doors would not stay closed. So they'd throw it around a corner and the door would fly open.
The one thing I seem to remember
Okay.
Reed McCallum talking about that they really didn't like was, and it's nice that they pose it with the door open so you can see what I'm about to talk about, was, they're supposed to be super cool spies, and there was no cool way to get in the car. You had to step over, and, it was just awkward.
Yep.
And they were actors, not stuntmen, unless you want to do the Bo Duke thing, and slide over the hood or something like that. But he's like, it was tough to get in and out of. It was just no way to do it and be cool. And the Man from U.N.C.L.E. guys are supposed to be the epitome of cool.
Yep. And the car wasn't used in that many episodes.
Somebody told me, I think one of the Glue Troopers said it was used in 4 or 5 episodes and 1 episode of The Girl from U.N.C.L.E.
Yes.
Which apparently was just an attempt to try and reuse some of the props and everything, and stuff was all paid for. But the car's still around. It still does the car show circuit. Completely with the boat propellers on back.
The other car that wasn't used that much, even though you saw it in the opening of the show, was the Sunbeam Tiger from Get Smart.
That's right.
You saw it in the beginning, but you hardly never saw it in the show.
That is correct. The other cars along these lines we're talking about, they're not actually spy cars per se, but were sort of character cars in that quasi-genre. You had Jim Rockford's car from the Rockford Files, and even Rocky's truck. We talked about Mannix. He had a couple of cool customized cars. And let's see, as far as spy cars went, what other spy shows were on? The FBI, they were always driving those big Lincolns and stuff. But you ever notice a James Bond movie that every time Felix Leiter shows up, they're driving these oversized American sedans with like Lincolns or Crown Vics or whatever, It's like Americans in their big cars. But
some of the guys are still trying to get over that $1,500 from that car.
Oh yeah, Kuda Killa points out round 2 is a UFO license now, so I wonder if they'll do a Straker car. Straker and Foster cars, those were pretty cool, and I think wasn't Straker's car built on like a Granada, the door wouldn't stay open on that either. They said every time you see Straker getting out of the car, at least it was a full size gold door, so he could step out and look cool in that unitard thing they had him wearing, but they had to have a guy off camera holding the door open because there was nothing there. It was a prop car, and. But I always thought Straker and Foster's cars were 2 of the coolest cars in Hollywood when I was a kid. And they got passed around and used in some other stuff. Foster's car wound up in a junkyard. I think somebody found it and they're trying to refit it. It's all just fiberglass shells and stuff. But still, the kits were cool. And I'll do a video on the Piranha when I get done building it. I really don't expect too much trouble. Like I said, I got that TS-58 and I hopefully I've got the hard part out of the way here. But, the only other thing I thought, and we've talked about it before, and I don't think I loaded any images here, but, as long as we're talking about cars, a guy named Rick McCloskey in 72 he went out on Van Nuys, and Boulevard in L.A., and started photographing the car scene, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but it seems to me that the LA car scene was kind of a world of its own. It's become pretty legendary. I don't know if it really earned it or not. This one picture in particular, the girl in the photo, or boyfriend from what I read, or boyfriend owned the car. And it was so popular, everybody, even back in 72 when cameras used film, not, like today where we can shutterbug all day long and just delete what we don't want. But we all remember when you had to use film and it cost money. And if you wasted a shot, you wasted that was $1 out the window or whatever. But she said she got used to being photographed because the car was so popular. And I'm assuming that was a hand paint job on it. But
what, on that car?
I'm just guessing.
Oh no, that's not a hand paint job.
Oh, it's not?
No.
You familiar with this set of wheels?
No, but I can tell just by looking at it, it's not a hand paint job.
Oh, okay, so that was stenciled off?
Yeah.
Well, didn't was it Dean always hand paint?
You mean Dick Dean or
Dean Jeffries. Was Dean Jeffries the one always hand painted?
Yeah, but Dean Jeffries hand painted stripes and lettering on Indy cars.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, no, something like that. That's taped off and to make those swirls in the car or
What is
waves
that? Is that
or
a
whatever
Plymouth?
you want to call them. And then they painted over it with the light color, and then they pulled the tape off.
Is that a Plymouth?
No, it's a GTO.
That's a GTO?
Yeah, that's like
Okay.
a 66 GTO.
All right, it's just the angle. The angle's kind of throwing me a little bit.
Check out the roof. Look at the back roof. You can see the buttress of the roof.
Ah, okay. Well, some of the stuff about this was just I don't know. America's always had a love affair with cars. That's not even a subject for debate. I mean, a good chunk of our society especially the youth, has been centered around cars and being cool and everything. And that's one reason I think movies like American Graffiti were so popular, is they actually just tapped into that. And
Well, you got to remember, you had the hot rod craze in the late 40s through the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Then the muscle cars came around in the 60s.
Yeah.
And you had the baby boomers that were just becoming of age to drive. And they bought these cars and customizing and speed equipment, and all those things were hallmarks of the West Coast. And it just was like the perfect storm. And the weather's great. You can cruise all the time. They had fast food restaurants everywhere. And, it was just like it was a breeding ground for it.
And I look at the paint scheme that this guy did on this. Was it a Bel Air or something? I can't.
Yeah, an Impala.
Impala. And, he put a lot of sweat equity into that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like, if you look at, like, today, you look at, like, the lowrider community.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not a fan of that particular type of car, but the amount of work that those guys put into the cars and the paint jobs are spectacular.
They are works of art. And
I mean, you may not like, that particular category, but you cannot argue about the craftsmanship and the dedication that they have to the channel.
And that kind of brings up the opposite end of the spectrum also. I noticed that, the car scene, although it's, I mean, clearly it's about the cars, but you also see a lot of, here's a Topolino, but you also see was that a Firebird behind it? But you also see guys out cruising in just sedans and vans, and it just, I don't know, just everybody there seems to just be there for the sake of, it doesn't matter what you drive, there's just this love affair with the car. And that wasn't actually, that's a good picture.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's probably Van Nuys Boulevard.
Yeah, most of these are I think all these photos were taken on Van Nuys. He's got the Bob's Big Boy and everything. And I imagine a lot of these are kits of them. You could probably, that'd actually make an interesting diorama, all 124, 125. Just do all the cars from 71 or 70 and do a Van Nuys Boulevard thing, for a build. But what I love about it is how much of the culture is around it. And this, I assume that the picture you're going to see here shortly, this guy was in the process of restoring the car, doing something to it because he got primer all over the door and a bunch of the chrome's missing. But the car looks like it's had some work put into it. And
now this picture with the Firebird in it, this had to be taken about 1967.
Well, I think all these photos were taken in 72.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it had to be. It couldn't have been before then. But this is the one I'm talking about with the, I assume the guy's still working on his car, but everybody's standing around looking at it, so I guess they're like, oh, Bobby, what are you doing to your ride, man? you look at these photos, like, man, you could make a model of just about any of the cars out here, and the whole spirit of the thing. I mean, yeah, God, I never thought I'd say I missed the '70s, but I don't know. I just don't think we're ever gonna. I mean, I know that car culture is still big in California, but it's not like this.
Well,
Craig
now
Swain
it's sports
says
cars.
it's
What?
Now it's sports cars.
Well, not only that, but the thing is a lot of these kids, like you say, they wrenched on their own cars, and you really can't do that with a modern car. Now, I know there's still a collector car community, but most of the guys jumping out of them are our age.
More of cars that you would see in these pictures here.
What's that?
Rather than a cruise, all of these cars that you would see of the era in these pictures here,
Uh-huh.
where they were more than into a cruising thing,
Uh-huh.
now it's more of like a cars and coffee, a car show thing.
Uh-huh.
There's not as much cruising as there used to be like in the 60s.
Right. Everybody kind of just parks and shows their car off.
Right.
And I'm sure that there is a story behind the one I'm about to show you here, the Sour Mouse. Looks like a 56, I think. Or 55, but I guess it's...
Phaser says, "Bring back the hot pants."
Yeah. Austin says she's in her 70s now.
I was going to bring that point up, but I did. I was kind of breaking my heart. You realize all these kids are in their 70s now, or at least their late 60s. And
okay, that's a 55 Chevy.
Okay. But you want hot pants? Here, you're going to love this one.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It might. I remember going cruising, with my friends, but it was the mid to late '70s. But being that I was from a small town, there wasn't that big of a cruising scene. But we did it. We go to Tallahassee, and it was so much fun with your friends just to get out. And there was always the parking lot that everybody hung out in. And there's your hot pants. Although to be honest, at the time the GT Mustang, was like, if he said, "What can you go back to that time?" I'll take the Mustang. But
Just send that picture to Mike.
Ken Ash says, "You know she's somebody's grandma."
Yep, I know that's. And you know what? As long, guys, for the record, if you hadn't already figured it out by now, the regular Max's Models Kit Styrene show is kind of over. We've drifted into our usual. Now we're drifting into the after show, and since I got to get up early tomorrow, I'm not having any cough medicine or anything. But I'm going to tell you what about not this photo solely, but this is a good example of it. It just breaks my heart because now that all of us are in or approaching middle age, we look back at this and we're like, it was too brief a period. We should have been this age for 50 or 100 years and life would be great. It just got away from this window between when you're 16 and in high school, maybe early college, and by the time you're 20, you've got other things. This is a 2 or 3 or 4 year window out of a lot of people's lives. And it never gets better than this. Well, I mean, it does. You have your kids and everything, and your goals change. But this is it's like
This is back when the world was still in front of you.
Yeah, but not only that, it's like drinking a fine wine. You can taste the finest wine, but it's ephemeral. It comes and it goes. And like you say, these gals are all grandmas now. This guy is probably, I'd peg him probably about. Well, Stevie's probably about your age, and I can see young Steve on the hood of his car, And Ken, I've got pictures of you at that age.
Never. You never sat on the car. Never.
Now that is the one that's a little odd. It's probably sitting on the hood. Unless it was somebody else's car, and that usually ended in gunfire. I saw more than one fight break out because somebody sat on somebody's car. But
you tended to dent the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were talking about car culture, and here we have this gal out here, and she's wearing flip flops, a dress flip flops, and driving a Volkswagen, and with a bent fender. It's like, you cruise with what you got.
Then you spend the rest of your life looking back at that, and go, "Damn, I had a good time back then."
Yes, I did. And don't get me wrong,
Nathan. Nathan.
we tend to reminisce.
Nathan.
What's that?
How depressing what Nathan said.
Do I want to know?
The rest of your adult life is mainly drudgery, getting up and going to a job and working for people you hate.
Not me. That's why I became a pilot. But these two are sitting there. I just love it. What is that? Is it a Camaro they're sitting on? And they're just with the bare feet and everything. It's like it's just a time, and there they are sitting on the car again. Of course, they probably don't weigh 100 pounds apiece, but it's just.
That was the strong part of the roof.
Nah, you can sit there. It's the strong part of the roof.
Where the rollover strength was.
I doubt they knew that. They just knew that was the part they sat on and didn't go whoop 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 whoop.
I probably did, but
I remember sitting on the hood of my car, leaning back onto the windshield, watching the fireworks go off.
Mm-hmm. Now, I did this, especially being a country boy. This is something we did a lot of, riding and I actually had a Datsun pickup that would have been about a 76, I guess, 77. And but I remember riding around the back of pickup trucks all the time. And, that's how we got around in Deep South, man. But, it's just, it's funny the things you miss. They were uncomfortable, but they were beat walking.
Robert Austin says you can't do that on any car made today.
Yeah.
get that right.
But there was one photo I was looking for in here that.
He says I had that Datsun.
Too bad. Were the girls in it?
Apparently, this gas station hired girls to pump gas, to help drum up business as a mobile. And I was like, it probably worked. I'm sure all the teenagers, it probably didn't matter for most people, but the guys out cruising, probably want to, do that. That was a clever marketing. And but where was that? I'm trying to remember that picture. Oh gosh, which one was it?
I used to have a car with the gas cap right there behind the license plate.
Oh yeah, yep. And
made all the sense in the world. You could pull up the pump on either side.
Don't ever forget the gas cap, though.
Instead of crap, it's on the other side.
Now.
Yeah, but don't ever forget to put the gas cap back on.
Yeah, it'll leak out.
Yeah.
Okay. This next photo that's going to pop up with the guys hanging out in front of the burger joint, this kid looks like he's all about 14. But there's something that is so incredibly 70s about this picture. From the almost mutton chop sideburns, the smoke hanging out of his mouth, the kid with the overshirt, like I say, he's got to be all about 14 hanging around with his, the older kids. He'd be the youngest one here. He might still be in his 60s now. But what I love, what am I talking about? He's probably my freaking age, or maybe 2 or 3 years older. I would have been, I want to say I'd have been 12. That kid's about 14 or 15. So yeah, he'd be about 65 now. But the part that dates this more than anything else, burger plate, 99 cents. 2 large beef patties. I'm like, a
sesame bun, French fries, and lettuce salad.
Oh, man, I don't know. we used to hang out at the burger joint when I was a kid. It was fun. Well,
Ken, what makes you think the next time he goes to L.A. with Mike, he's going to try and find that place?
Come on, Mike. We're cruising Van Nuys till we find the 99-cent burger plate. To which Mike would probably respond, "This is a Mustang, not a time machine."
Back then, you only made, what, $1.25 an hour?
If
that much.
And, it's the things we don't think about. It never dawned on me as a kid that there would be a day when there were no Volkswagen Beetles on the road. Or Pinto.
Yeah, that's something to ponder in your life. That's something to ponder in your life.
Didn't you see Sleeper with Woody Allen?
Yeah, what about it?
When he wakes up in like the 25th century and he goes into a cave and there's a VW Beetle and he turns a key and it starts and he drives it out.
Now, what I do love is, even in 1972, we talk about how old, but you're going down Van Nuys, there's still a pawn shop and a vodka advertisement. So some things are timeless. Oh.
I just went to a restaurant last night and a burger was $15.
Well, Ken, what's the lowest minimum wage you remember?
I remember when there was no minimum wage.
And Steve, what's the lowest one you remember?
The lowest? I remember $2.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I remember way before that. I remember it was $1.25. That's the earliest one I remember, but I do remember that there was at one point no minimum wage.
Really? I don't even know when the minimum wage came into effect. But
Somebody will know.
What I find amazing is 1972, and this cat's got a TV in his car. So I'm like, okay, that had to be pretty whiz bang for the time. And I'm just grateful that guys like McCloskey went out here and cataloged. He took like 4,000 photos, and I think he's trying to get them, like published or something. But it's just, time in history. There's that's the Bob's. I guess it was Bob's Big Boy. And
oh wow, getting lots of responses back on the minimum wage that people remember.
I think I
Mazer
remember
must
like
be pretty young. They started out at $4.75 an hour.
Well, I think my older brother's first job was something like $1.25 or something an hour or something like that. I forget, but there are some things that were just. We're never going to see 36 cent a gallon gasoline again. Not without invading somebody.
I remember 28 cents a gallon gas.
I remember 19.9.
Oh, you're really showing it.
And they gave you, and they cleaned your windshield, checked your oil, washed your windshield, gave you stamps, and a glass.
And a glass.
And a mat.
Yeah, if you got to fill up, you get a glass.
And thanks for coming back. Now it's $7 a gallon. Figure it out yourself.
It ain't that bad. Actually, here in Jacksonville today, oh crap, I meant to gas the car up and I forgot, and I got to do that on the way to Kissimmee tomorrow to go to Montapalooza. That's going to cost me 10 minutes. But it's I think I saw 326 here today. So we're doing better in some places for sure.
It's $2.99 here in Delaware.
Okay.
I spoke to my son who lives in San Diego, sends me a picture of the pylon from the gas station near his house. It's $6.99 a gallon.
Okay.
And I said to him, "Aren't you glad you have a hybrid?"
Nah.
And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "I'm going to get an electric car." I said, "Were you switched at birth?" I was like, "What is wrong with you?" "No, you're not going to get an electric car, you idiot. Get another hybrid."
Yeah, you don't. I don't think you want an electric car right now. At least not where you live. He lives in California, right?
Yeah, it was in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, home of the
Yeah,
rolling
a state that
blackout.
has rolling blackouts.
Yeah.
That's a real good idea.
You live in a state that has rolling blackouts. They tell people, don't turn on your air conditioner or charge your electric car. You want to get an electric car. Duh.
The crowd says, girls wearing skirts got extra special windshield washing when I pump gas. Oh, yeah, those mini skirts were great.
True.
Guys, they were a time. Well, I just wanted to throw that out there. Some glue trooper might make a model of one of these cars. You just look up. In fact, if you just type into Google 70s car scene, usually McCloskey's photos show up. They've been used on a lot of websites now. It just, I look at these kids, and I see all of us when we were that age, and then I think, my God, they're all my age or older. And I don't know, it's such a fleeting thing. But we were so freaking lucky to be part of it, to be around at the right time, that this is part of our collective memory. And
Well, when we talk about the gas prices, the thing that cracks me up are these people that they'll go get gas, and gas will be, let's say, 3.25.
mm-hmm.
And across the street or down the block, it'll be 3.23. Well, I went down there, I saved 2 cents a gallon. Okay, if you had 25-gallon tank, you save 50 cents. And it cost you a gallon to drive down to the other gas station. So, what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had a lot of people make that point. I'm kind of like, it's just people feeling better about what they're doing, I guess. But one.
Chuck says, unless you banged your head on the dashboard. they were metal back then.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wonder what is this dude doing with the television in his car in 1972?
I don't know if that's a television.
Where?
Underneath the upper right hand.
Unless unless he installed a rear view camera.
A refrigerator. I don't know what that is. It's not a tape deck. Oh, it looks like a TV. Yeah, it is.
I'm pretty sure it's a TV, but I don't know if he's. I mean, it might be some kind of closed circuit camera feed or something. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, but it looks like a TV.
It is definitely a interesting.
It's a Macintosh.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something.
Okay, from what little you can see of the picture, it does look like a view of the street. I wonder if he's just installed like a video camera on the rear of the car or something.
I don't know.
Craig Swain says, TV and car? Yes, they had them in the 70s.
Yeah, they did. Hey, look, I had 2 Hyundai Genesises, and they would play DVDs in the CD player screen in the dashboard.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Oh, wow. Craig Swain says, it is a TV. It's just a small black and white that is used. Stop moving. Converter for 24 volts.
Okay. So there you go. They had TVs in the cars then.
I know some of the concept cars had TVs instead of the rear view mirror.
Yeah, and some of them just had TVs, but yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, the camera would have been huge.
That's still, man. I just, oh Lord, it was
a Radio Shack.
The radio. Yeah, this is when Radio Shack actually sold radio parts.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to make a comeback.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah.
They had record players in cars back then? Holy cow.
Yeah. They had record players in the 50s. And they were sprung underneath so that when you hit a bump, it would, wouldn't skip.
Wouldn't bounce the needle, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I never saw anything like that. What I really like is this triple set of oil pressure, temperature gauge, and meter gauge that you used to be able to install in your car you could buy at AutoZone. Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff. We were privileged to live in that time.
What was that? An Acme TV? Ask the Roadrunner.
I think he's got stock in Acme. I think after growing up watching the Roadrunner, I would never buy anything from a company called Acme. It always blew up in your face.
Oh, Nathan said Elvis had one installed in all of his cars.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but he was Elvis.
What, a record player or a TV?
TV.
TV, both.
Oh, wow. My buddy had a booze dispenser in the dash.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was illegal even back then.
Up the booze and run it into the cabin. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, liked it when the oil gauge got filled with oil. Yeah, a friend of mine called me up one time, and he had just put the oil gauge in. He says, the oil comes almost all the way up to the gauge. I said, yeah, it's supposed to do that.
Oh, these are great pictures.
They are. McCloskey did good work. He mentioned that he always asked the people if he could take the picture, but he never used a flash because he said when guys taking pictures of people and they would use a flash, it would just kind of set them off. They were like they weren't comfortable with it. And anyway, Paradise Lost.
You know what I think is interesting is there are going to be kids growing up now that in the future they're going to be looking back at this time saying, "Oh man, remember back when things were simple?"
Oh sure.
Who knows what they got to live with in the future?
There will be a generation of people who will look back at the here and the now the same way we look back at that one. That's a virtual given. In fact, I joke with my captains from time to time. I said, these kids come up to the cockpit 7, 8 years old. They want to see the airliner cockpit. And we're always happy to show them, before we go. And he's like, I want to be an airline pilot. Oh, that's great. Little Tommy, we need young pilots. But then you realize by the time that kid's old enough to fly, this thing will probably be fully automated. He'll tell his grandkids or his kids or maybe his wife, I remember when they had people in the cockpit. When you had to drive your own car.
I met a real pilot once.
Yep. I remember when you had to drive.
In 40 years, these kids of today will be saying, how did we live without an iPhone?
Or the internet.
Yeah.
Now, remember back when cars still burned gas?
Nah.
No, the thing that I like the best
is... and they'll go, what's gas?
Right. The thing I like is when they talk about, well, I'll have to ask Google, and people turn around and they point to encyclopedias and go, this was our Google.
Yeah. It was called the Dewey Decimal System. Well, guys, going on 9 o'clock. That's it for tonight's show. I hope you guys had a good time. I want to give a special thanks to Corey for coming on and spending some time with us, all those great pictures. Keep those ugly car and auto and Halloween pictures coming in. I'll hopefully be able to get everything out on time, maybe another viewer's bill before I go back to start training, which will be in the middle of next month. But I also got a little study between now and then, so content's going to be a little bit less than normal, and eventually the channel will go not dark, but gray for a while. But hopefully by the end of the year, I can be done with the training, finished with OE, and out online with a regular schedule so I can kind of get back to our normal schedule. I won't be a senior as I was, and I just found out a bunch of my simulator sessions are going to run from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. I'm looking forward to that. Red eye training, yeah. But that's the way it goes. That's the airline thug life. So
Twitter killer says, blow kids' minds. Tell them you called Blockbuster on a landline.
and their response will be,
or Slego says, there's a video of kids trying to figure out how to use a rotary phone.
well, I tell you right now, if you tell kids that I used to call Blockbuster on a rotary landline, they will look at you and go, these words that coming out of your mouth have no meaning to me. What are you saying? I do not know what this is.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? Blockbuster? Landline?
Who is this strange person? Well, all right, guys. I am going to loop the outro for a while so you can chat with each other for a few minutes as we say goodnight. Steve, thanks for coming out. Ken, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having
us.
Everybody, you take care of yourselves. I don't know when more content will be coming out. I'll get it out as time and work allow. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.
faces fade as the years go by. Yet I still recall as I wandered on, as clear as the sun in the summer sky. It's more than a feeling, when I hear that song that used to play. I begin dreaming till I see my Marianne walking away. When I'm tired of thinking cold, I turn on some music, forget the day, and dream of a girl I used to know. She closed her eyes and I slipped away. She slipped away.